I love butter. I'm one of those butter lovers who believes that bread is more of a vehicle to deliver butter to your mouth than anything else. But not just plain butter that you cook with. I'm talking salted butter, that beautiful, flavorful butter that just explodes in your mouth, and it's creamy and tasty, and but it's also fatty. And that's why I very infrequently eat butter, because it is, I mean, it really is a mound of fat. So I just discovered egg butter. When I travel, instead of bringing home some lame trinket that I would just put on my mantle, I like to bring home food ideas so that when I'm cooking them, I can actually think of my travels. And also, of course, something that's different and interesting, and I can show off to my friends when I have a dinner party. So egg butter is what they make in Finland. They put it on their rice bread. So here is the rice bread, and it's this really thin piece of rye bread, like thin pizza crust, you know, and then they open it up and they put in rice with, I think, some cream and butter and some egg, and they just fold it over, and it's one of their pastries. It's 4 grams of fat. It's not sweet. They have it for breakfast. They even serve it at the airports. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is what it is. I brought some home because I haven't been able to find it in the US, and I became completely addicted to it. So then they make this egg butter, and they just serve this also at the airports. You say, I have some rice bread. Okay, do you want butter or egg butter? And what it is butter. This is European style salted butter, so it already has a little bit of salt and flavor, and it's a little bit brighter yellow than your average unsalted cooking butter. And then 1 hard-boiled egg and some salt. I like to use sea salt because it's coarse and it adds a little bit of that nice consistency, but if you don't have sea salt, you can use just regular salt too. So you take the hard-boiled egg and you dice it into really small pieces, and then you leave out the butter. I like to use just 1 tablespoon of butter to 1 hard-boiled egg, so it's actually a lot more egg than butter, and leave it out so it becomes nice and soft. And then you just moosh the egg into the butter, and what's great about it is it cuts the fat content of the butter almost in half, because an egg is between 4 and 5 grams of fat each, but more than just fat, it's filled with protein and lecithin and nutrients, and it takes a long time for your body to digest it, so it's this great slow release and consistent energy. So you're taking butter and turning it into a food. It's so that it has protein in it, it has lecithin in it, which helps with your connective tissues, which helps to minimize wrinkles and cellulite. I mean, it's good all around, and it's half the fat. So you take it, you moosh it together. You can use a blender if you'd like. It makes it so that it's a more creamy consistency, or I just used a fork. And this is what it looks like, nice and creamy and yummy. And then, I don't have a fork. Then if you can find this rice bread, or if you can make it, I honestly don't know how to make it. I need to learn. And you take just the same amount of butter that you would normally use on bread. Just because it has egg isn't an excuse to use twice as much. That sort of negates the whole thing of it being half the fat. So take some of this egg butter, rub it onto the rice bread. Oh, it's so good. My mouth is watering. Oh, I would have at least 1, if not 2, every morning in Finland of this stuff. It's just so unbelievably tasty. I don't know how the egg and this extra salt makes butter so good. And that's it. Egg butter on rice bread. You can take the egg butter and you can put it, yesterday I put it on squash, just a little bit of the egg butter and some pepper on a squash. I think it was acorn squash. You can put it on spaghetti squash. You can put it on spaghetti. You can really do anything with it, but maybe not cook with it. Just use it as a topping that like you would normally do with butter. And so good. This is so good. I mean, you really could eat this It's not as gross as it looks, but you need to try it to make sure that it's correctly made. Really good. And that is not as gross as it looks. I meant not the egg butter itself, but eating straight butter, because it's half butter and half egg. So, anyway, that is your quickie in the kitchen today. Egg butter. You should make it at home. How easy was that? And you can put it on anything. And just show them, this is my new trick from overseas, from Finland. And that's it. Just don't eat the whole thing, okay? That still is a lot of fat, but you got the protein now. That's your quickie in the kitchen today.